Great ideas start with insights. As design companies are using the same tools and frameworks, what sets them apart are not only the quality and the impact of their insights, but their ability to identify which ones are key. Knowing this is a matter of practicing and building levels of critical thought during the design research process. The more you do this, the more you become a stronger designer, thus delivering stronger solutions for your clients. In this video, you will have an understanding of design research, how to craft a valuable insight, and tools to implement into your design process immediately. So, what is design research? Design research both inspires imagination and informs intuition through a variety of methods like user interviews, patterns that uncover people's behaviors and experiences. It explores reactions to prototypes and reveals the unknown through iterative hypothesis and experimentation. Design research is nothing new. It's been around since the 1960s when there was a need to bring research into the design process. We see it commonly used today in human-centered design firms like IDEO and Frog to better understand how clients and users interact and engage with products and services. So what happens next after design research? Synthesis. Synthesis is a rigorous approach where great ideas happen. John Calco defines it as making meaning through inference-based sense-making. Inference-based can be broken down into three ways of thinking. First is deductive thinking. For instance, Mike is a doctor. All doctors have bad handwriting. Therefore, Mike has bad handwriting. This is where the output is almost guaranteed to be true if the premise is true. Second is inductive thinking. For instance, all doctors I've seen drive black Porsches. Therefore, the next doctor I will see will be driving a black Porsche. This gives good evidence that the conclusion is true. Third is abductive thinking. For instance, when a doctor delivers news, they empathize with their patients and it helps them build trust. I've seen bankers struggle to connect with customers when dealing with complex topics of finance. Now, I could abduct that bankers might be able to learn by emphasizing more with their customers and build trustworthy relationships. This argument is best explained depending on circumstances and experience and inference. By knowing these three levels of thinking, we could start to move through the design synthesis more fluidly. Synthesis can be broken down into these stages. Learnings. Learnings are what stood out in conversations or observations. Learnings should happen after an interview where you download information collectively with your team that stood out prominently. Download should capture behaviors, events, states, consequences, meanings, and relationships. Themes. Themes are created after you've organized your learnings into categories. One method is affinity mapping, where you organize your data on Post-it notes and start clustering your themes into specific categories that arise. It's important to capture this data outside of your computer, like most Post-it notes on a wall where you can see and have a tangible experience with your data. You'll find more possible connections. Which leads us to insight. Insights are a combination of crafted observation and knowledge. For example, I saw this plus I know this equals an insight. I saw this is your data gathered through your research, like surveys, interviews, a guided experience. I know this, how you can relate and empathize with your own experience and your users. It draws on your knowledge and worldview. Empathy plays a key role of your own experience and how you see yourself in the user's shoes and imagine how they feel in the process. An observation is the fact that you notice or notice something. An insight is a clear, deep, meaningful perception into human behavior and understanding. It's the aha moment when you make meaning from the data you've collected into a solution. It's a statement of truth that is motivational and inspires action. Here is a balance between intuition and rationality. It is important to know while intuition plays an important role in this phase, but it's very different from insight. They both share similar cognitive and neural basis. Intuition involves judgment about saying yes or no. Insight is related to what is the solution. It's a provocative statement of truth, and it may be wrong. This can be tested through your confidence of voice. So, how do we make sense of all of this? We start looking at the connections of information and start to ask why. Asking why is the most important question in this phase. We start to dig deeper beyond the data, recall behaviors, actions, and emotions during our research, and start to map them out into statements. So next we'll learn about a problem statement. It's an important step before establishing a hypothesis. Picking the problem brings an issue into focus by clarifying what it is you're trying to address. It also forces you to say no to solutions that don't solve the problem. A problem statement should be persona name needs a way to users need because insight. In other words, users need is the main objective the persona is trying to accomplish, and the insight is why we're trying to solve it. It communicates a clear vision for the work and shifts the conversation from outputs to outcomes. So to recap, you now understand the design research process, the levels of thinking during synthesis, and how to create an insight through problem statement. You can find a link below to download a canvas to help you bring your insights to life. Thank you for watching.